and welcome to the JTrain podcast. This is JTrain, Jared Freid, coming live from the West Village of Manhattan. We're here every Monday with your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. Let me say it again. Thank you. Thank you for being a listener. And thank you. It is the holiday season. And you know what? I'll take a thank you because we are here in studio. I didn't leave you for the holidays. I didn't say, hey, we're going to do some best ofs. Some of your favorite podcasts took a break. I'm not here to talk shit on them. I'm just here to acknowledge some people didn't take a break.
Right.
Papa
some
JT.
Some people don't need a break.
Some people, no breaks needed. No breaks needed.
Some people are on this train, and this train is moving.
Always running. You count on this train. You depend on this train. The JTrain is always there for you. So Listen, what I would like for you to do, I gave you the gift of a live podcast, a podcast that is coming at you on a Monday morning. It is post-Christmas, pre-New Year's. Oof. That is the weird time of year where time and space and calories just don't seem to exist. Where alcohol is just like water and water is just like alcohol, right?
And you can start spending money on yourself again.
You can spend on yourself. Everyone else is done.
Right. You already bought shit for everybody. And now it's your time.
And you get the gift cards that you all got during the holidays. That you were like, a gift card. Now you go, I got some money to throw out there.
And it's not even real money. It's a gift card.
It's gift card.
You got to spend it.
Just like the calories,
you can't save
gift
it.
Cards don't count. You can't save it. You can't bring it to Chase Bank.
Right.
No.
You can't invest it.
Let me introduce our guest because no, don't be sorry. I'm very funny comment. Have you've been on this show before? Way back.
Not.
You have not?
No, never.
Well, you moved away.
Right. When I left, you weren't famous yet.
Yeah, I'm totally famous. We're taping in my studio apartment.
This is dope.
Simeon Goodson, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Big JTrain in the house, Jared Freid.
Dude, I'm so happy you're here. We've known each other a long time.
Right.
At Sim de la Creme on Instagram. And hilarious coming. You were here in the city.
Yeah,
and that's
New York.
From New York. And then you moved to
Abu Dhabi.
And then China. And I would keep up with you on social media a little bit, just watching where you're going, what you're doing.
Right.
And then you're back.
I'm back.
And it's like you never left.
Right. That's what we're here for. I mean, I always wanted to come back. It wasn't like I wasn't one of those people who left New York. It was like I'm done with the city. I just wanted to see other places and come back. So,
what was the weirdest part about living in a far off land like that? I've been to China. China's it's bizarre.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different.
It's very different. They just don't. I mean, they don't really cater to English speakers.
Right.
Which is a strange thing.
That is a strange thing.
To even Italy or just any place that doesn't speak English, there's usually a good portion of the country that will accommodate you.
They'll make you happy.
Right. They're like, you can't eat here, but they speak English over there.
Right.
But in China, it's none of that.
Well, it's funny. It is the reason I nuzzle up to capitalism. You go, okay, your money's still good here.
Right.
You go to Italy, American in Italy, you probably got some dough in your pocket. You're here to spend. Hello.
Right.
They'll give you a hello. They'll try to make it. And I do think it's money related. I think in China, you go there, they go, we don't give a fuck about
Yeah, they don't care about you at all. It's hard to, if you're in China, if you're not in the airport, it's mad hard to change money. To just
so
change American money into yuan. It's mad different. I had to open a bank account. Well, they didn't let me just give them cash and give me back.
Well, I would say the same coming the other way. We don't do that for people here. If someone had yuan.
Right. But you could go to Times Square
and find a money exchange.
There's some place.
There was no Times Square there.
There was no Times Square. There's no America Town in China. You know what I mean? You're not going there and finding a bastion of Americans hanging out together. They're very much you're here, so you got to do shit we do. You're not going to separate yourself. You're not going to keep your own culture. If you're here, you're fucking with us.
Wow. Well, that's interesting because, America, it's a tough time to be prideful in America.
Right.
But you go, that is nice. We got a Chinatown.
Right.
The fact that we do that is we're nudging over more than they're doing other places.
Right. We're being accommodating to some degrure. But then, of course, it goes too far in some cases. And, you know what I mean? But,
we've made...
There's a balance, though, because it's over there, it's just you don't see anybody.
Well,
you know
I remember...
What I mean? There's no... you go to even if you go to McDonald's, it doesn't taste the same. You know what I mean?
Everything's
the food,
different.
Yeah, everything's different. Even things you think you'll recognize aren't recognizable.
When I was in China, I remember I went on stage and I said, I go, there's no one that looks Jewish here. There's not one Jew. And they were like, yeah, there's not. Like, it wasn't, like, I remember there were things, I did a bit where I was like, there was a guy, like, just washing a window. And he was just strung up with, like, string.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like there was
no
safety
shoes.
protocol.
No OSHA. There's no Chinese OSHA.
Some guy was like, get up there and clean the window.
Right.
And I was just like, there's no Jew here that's like, you got a case on your hands. Like, there was nothing that nature.
None of that. It's interesting because I grew up in New York, so you just kind of assume Jews exist everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they're part of the fabric of life. And then, like, you go other places, even like the middle of the country, and you're like, hey, where the Jews at? And they're like, no, we don't got none of those. And you're like, oh, that's weird.
Right. This is no Jew land.
I was in the Middle East, so I had this joke I would do where I was like, people asked me why I left New York to come to the Middle East to do comedy. And I told them to make fun of Jews because you can't do that in New York, right? So I would do that joke, and then they would yell and they would be like, do the Jew joke.
Oh my God.
And I was like, there's no actual Jew joke. Like, that was the Jew joke. Like, I don't have an actual Jew joke. And they were like, boo. They're like, boo, talk about the Jews. That's what we want.
Hilarious and scary at the same time. Yeah, now I've done, you do jokes that, they don't respond right.
Right.
I was in Atlanta.
You took that joke wrong. You're laughing for the wrong reason.
You're not laughing with, you're laughing at. Yeah. I remember I was in Atlantic City. I was like, it is, I would say it's tough to be white, walk a mile in my boat shoes. I didn't even get to boat shoes. I just go, it's tough to be white. People are like standing ovation. You said it, man. You said. I was like, no. You're
let me finish.
You're at the wrong spot.
Right.
So listen, I'm so pumped you're here. We got some emails, great emails. Everyone go follow Sim at Sim de la Creme on Instagram. He has a Patreon where you have a special on the Patreon.
Specials on the Patreon's $1.
$1. How do they get there?
Patreon.com/Simeon Goodson.
So Patreon.com/Simeon Goodson. Yeah. Simeon's fucking hilarious. He's so funny. And $1. There's the special.
It's actually called a regular.
It's
me doing 4 spots at the Cellar.
Oh,
so
amazing.
4 different sets, one night. Back to back to back.
So you're going to get to spend, like, I think that's a wonderful idea because, there's someone sitting in Des Moines, Iowa, who they have no plan of coming to New York, and I don't blame them. Fine. They do their own fucking trips. But they hear about the Comedy Cellar and they go, what's a night there like? This is what that is. This is like just a night in the life. Bounce around, be with Sim for the night. Being late to shit.
Bombing.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't bomb.
Well, like last night, I went on stage. I'm like, I just taped the special, and I'm like trying to figure out new bits. And then there's like
which is the worst part of the process.
The worst.
The absolute worst.
It's the worst because you feel you're like, I don't know what's going to work. But it's the best because you get to take big cuts that you don't care about.
Right.
Like, these aren't jokes that I, like, need to work. When you're working on a special, you're like, I need the jokes to work.
Right.
When you're working on, like, let me tell the story about my mom. You know? Like,
seeing what sticks.
And then when it works, you go, whoo, I got something new.
But sometimes it doesn't work, and you're like, I got fucking jokes, y'all.
Right,
you know what I mean? You're like
ego can get in the way.
I know you think I'm not funny, but I'm really funny, and I'm trying new things right now.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Ego gets in the way of new bits. Because you go, no, I got shit. Yeah, and then you do something
I'm better than this.
Right? You gotta let them know.
Right. Like, you gotta prove it to these people.
To some person from fucking Des Moines. We don't give a shit about you. Go watch.
Unless you buy the special.
Unless you buy the special. So listen, go Sim de la Creme on Instagram. We'll have the link to all his socials, and go patreon.com/Simeon Goodson. Let's get to the emails. You ready?
Do it. Yeah.
We got some great emails today. Oh, I'm on the road, people. I've taken a little break. Right now I'm sitting in Boca somewhere. I'm going to be in San Diego this weekend for New Year's weekend. I'm also coming to Houston. I get so many messages from Houston. I've never done stand-up there, I don't think. So Houston, Dallas, Toronto, Vegas, Perrysburg, Ohio, Vancouver, Irvine, Indianapolis, Oklahoma City. I got more cities coming. JaredFreid.com. For tickies, we're sponsored. Money can't buy happiness, but not worrying about your money comes close. That's where Chime can help you smile more. They were just named the #1 most loved banking app with payday up to 2 days early and fee-free overdrafts up to $200. They offer financial peace of mind in your wallet. All this with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks to apply. Chime's it's a great time of year for Chime because organize your financial life. And this is a great way to do it. See for yourself why Chime is so loved at chime.com/JTrain. That's chime.com/JTrain. Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank, NA members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. See chime.com/spotme. Chime was the 2021 #1 most downloaded banking app in the U.S. according to Apptopia. Wow. So let's get on that. Let's get to the emails. You ready, Sim?
Yeah, I'm ready.
When to define a situationship into a relationship?
Oof.
See,
it's a big oof.
Are you seeing anyone right now? Okay.
What? I am. I'm seeing some people. I'm seeing a person, and then doing stuff.
Would you consider those situationships or relationships?
Oh God, so interesting.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
I mean, it's like it's.
What would they call it?
I think it's a situationship that's like teetering. It's like trying to break through, but I'm resisting.
That's it.
I'm very
well. That's the story of every situationship.
Right.
Situationships are one person that wants a little bit more, and one person who wants a little bit less,
or just wants it to stay how it is.
Right. Stay how it is.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fine too. Like, why can we can't just party?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, nobody some people. I agree. Why can't we just party? And then what you have to do if you want to just party is you have to keep in contact. You have to communicate as much in a situationship as you do in a relationship.
Right.
Just in a different way. You got to go, are we still to party?
Right.
If you want to leave this party, do we need to leave this party? Do and that's what often gets left behind is that's an uncomfortable thing. You still want to dance here?
Right.
And they go, well, no, I want
to sit down and eat.
Right.
You know, like, because I thought we were dancing.
Right. I thought we were just going to dance forever.
Right. I didn't know we were going to.
Dear JTrain and guests, I met this guy off of Hinge, and we were seeing each other for 2 months. We saw each other 2 to 3 times weekly and texted daily. We went on new, exciting dates, went to each other's houses, bike rides, dinner, etc. We never talked about what we wanted out of this, but I didn't feel a convo was needed since it felt like we were already dating at this point. Then last week, his texting gets shorter. He goes all week without seeing me. I asked him what his plans were on Friday, and he said he had no plans, but maybe we could hang out. We went to the mall and browsed for Christmas presents for his family, got dinner, and went back to my place and watched a movie. Everything seemed normal, and he said he had a lot of fun that night before leaving. Then Saturday, I reached out to him, and no response. He didn't reply until late Sunday, saying that he was busy with friends. I felt a huge shift in his energy this week, so I decided to reach out and see where he sees this going, because it was giving me a lot of anxiety, and I didn't want to waste my time if he was just not into it anymore. My questions are, should I have asked earlier about what we were looking for out of this, and do guys really not want to continue seeing someone because their interests don't align? He was definitely more active and adventurous than me, but do guys want to date someone that they have everything in common with? Or was this just an excuse? How can I avoid this from happening in the future? He clearly didn't see me as girlfriend potential for a while, but was just never going to say anything. I'm completely devastated by this and not sure how this could have been avoided. I thought by 2 months in, he would have known if he wanted to pursue this into a relationship. Thanks for your perspective. What do you think?
I think 2 months is way too soon to be talking that crazy, ma'am. That's what I think. 2 months? Like, she's talking like come on, 2 months? Like, that's 8 weeks.
Well,
it takes 8 weeks. That's not like you can go 8 weeks without doing laundry. You know what I mean?
Like, you could if you got enough clothes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's a possibility. It's not recommended, but that's not enough time to talk. She's talking crazy.
I don't think she's talking crazy.
I think
you're spending twice a week. You're making exceptions in your life for them. And then you go, what are we doing here? I think it's the way. Oh, go ahead. You had
no. I'm listening.
I think it's the way she asked, because I think she's right for not being like, we're dating. And I don't think she added any, like she asked in her question, do guys not want to continue seeing someone when their interests don't align? That has nothing to do with this.
No.
The interests, listen.
I think it's very important to establish any kind of relationship, like Black Friday, like right after Thanksgiving. Like, you need to know what the relationship is. You know what I mean? Because you're getting into the holidays now, and people get people get tense. Like, it's very difficult to Because if you're like, I don't know what we are,
right,
then you have that whole thing in your mind where you're like, do I get her a gift?
Right.
Do I take her to dinner? You know what I mean? And it's like, it sounds trivial, but like that bothers dudes. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, I don't know what to do with this woman.
Well, you also don't want to you want to disappoint someone.
Right.
Like, the problem with being a fun hookup with someone is going, I want the fun hookup, but I don't want them going, oh, this person's just having fun and I'm not having fun.
Right.
And I think that's the problem here.
Yeah, it's 3 times a week is too much also. That dude's bugging out.
Well, he's wearing her as a girlfriend and then seeing if he wants to return her.
Right.
And that's,
he left the tags on.
Right. Well, that's what he's doing. And the thing is, it took, I think for her, when she's like, the interests not aligning, that's an excuse, I guess, whatever.
Is that what he told her?
That must have been what he told her. Okay. Because I like to hike, you don't like to hike?
Right, because he's more adventurous and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no. But that's every dude. That's a very Instagram thing. We see a couple doing things together. You know what I mean?
This isn't what that's about.
Right.
That's an easy thing to go, well, I'm
looking for a girl who hikes.
Here's the right. And he's going to say I'm looking for a girl who hikes because because of the way she asked the question. The way she asked the question, she says, I reached out to see where I felt a huge shift in energy, so I decided to reach out and see where he sees this going.
Right.
That's not how men think.
And it's 2 months. I was seeing this girl for 7 months. Mm-hmm. And I only knew that because after I stopped talking to her, she was like, we were seeing each other for 7 months. And I was like, was it 7 months? You know what I mean? It didn't feel like 7 months to me. It just felt like
we're hanging out.
Chilling. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't go, I don't want to come to you and be like, I've been going to this bar for 8 months. You know what I mean? I just hang out there. So it's I don't think he was looking at it like I was seeing her 3 times a week. He was like, I'm just hanging out with this girl that I just met.
I think this is very helpful for for a lot of the women that are dealing with, Sim, you're bringing up things that I've said on this podcast before. The idea of we don't keep time.
Right.
If I'm just someone I'm hanging with, I'm having a great time. I'm not personally offended by this. If she canceled on me, okay. This is Situationship 101.
Right.
When she says, where do you see this going?
After 2 months.
But I love your analogy because you bring up the bar. So you would never say to the bar, when do you see yourself closing?
When do you see yourself expanding?
Right.
When are you going to add another floor?
Right. When are you going to start having new drinks on the menu?
Right.
They would go, I don't know, we haven't even thought about it.
When are you going to renovate? Right. You're just hanging out.
We're just hanging out.
I'm enjoying it as it is.
This is the bar I go to.
Right.
If the bar said to you, the bar you go to, if the bar said to you, Sim, we close at midnight now.
Right. Or we're gonna start a VIP program. It's members only. We're gonna do members only now.
Hey, Sim, if you want to come to our bar, it's $3,000 a year.
Right.
We're gonna have a higher clientele moving forward.
Right.
And you would go, how much do I like this bar?
Right. Even though you spend $6,000 a year at it,
right?
You know what I mean. You're like $3,000 a year up front,
right?
And you're like, I don't know, this is a lot,
right? This woman needs to change the rules of the bar. Needs to announce the bar has a different clientele now,
right?
And I think it's funny because what you're saying is it's not offensive and it's math to you. Oh, this is a fun bar that I go to. Right. It's not something that you take personally. If you showed up there and you went and they go, hey, we got tired, we closed night, you go, everyone gets tired. I'll go to another bar, right. Or you'd go home.
Right, or I'll just come back.
Right, come back another time. Right. So I think this woman, when you say, where do you see this going?
Plus, you have to question how frequently she said, we need to talk. Because that will drive him away, regardless of what she said.
Because the talk becomes exhausting.
Right.
And where do you see this going? In that world, when I hear that as a guy, I hear, okay, marriage, engagement, move-in,
critiquing me.
But
telling me I dress poorly.
If she had done it a different way, where she said, she goes, hey, I'm not on the dating apps anymore. Now she knows. Now he has been led to know that your bar's rules have tweaked a little.
Right. I'm not welcoming new guests anymore.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, why?
Right. You might go, well, I don't want to go to that bar anymore because
it's stuck up.
Because
it's a little uppity now.
Not even stuck up, just that bar kind of they make you I might be offending that bar by going just floating in without a reservation.
Right.
So this is the thing. When she says, I don't think she did anything wrong. I think it's her perspective. This idea that his hiking schedule is why he broke up. Why did he break up? She needs to be like, well, what do I want? And I think that's the one thing where it adds power to it. You go, if you're seeing someone 2-3 times a week, I'm not saying you have to say, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Should I have said something? Hey, I think you got to be vulnerable to get vulnerable.
Right.
Hey, I'm spending 2 to 3 times a week with you. To me, I'm going to be off the dating apps.
But I mean, like I said, I feel like 2 months, she went into that. She had no desire to have a situationship.
No, well, that's okay.
I mean? That's what I feel like.
But if at 2 months, if someone said to you, not where do you see this going? If they said, hey, I'm not going to hang out tonight. I kind of want to do dinner.
Right.
You would decide.
If that's a shift you want to make. Right.
And now, well, I don't want to do dinner. Well, why? Because I am looking now they're forced to say what they're looking for.
Right.
And I think what happens a lot is we get so vague. Where do you see this going? That doesn't, to me, I'm like, oh my God, the lights are on. They've caught me,
right. The light in your face.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. We're sponsor people. Brooklinen. Brooklinen is your one-stop shop for everything cozy. I am looking at my bed right now. It's covered in Brooklinen.
Okay.
So comfortable. Looks good. Hotel quality sheets. I've said this before. Brooklinen is so good that it went from podcast ads to my mom asking about it.
Okay.
When your mom knows about a product, it's that means it's well done. It's
especially
good.
housewares.
Housewares. Are you kidding
Sheets.
me?
Yeah.
And Brooklinen works directly with suppliers. They pass on the savings to you. So there's no more, big warehouse place that has to pay rent. They're just going straight to you and passing on the savings to you. Home essentials, bedding, decor, and so much more to keep you comfy. So here's what they have. They launch new products and colors and patterns all the time. Sheets, towels, robes pop with bold colors and holiday prints. I have the robe. They sent me the robe. I'm not a robe guy. I now wear it around. I look like the Grand Poobah.
Robes are very transitional. You become a robe guy. No one starts a robe guy.
No, right,
You're
not
born a robe guy.
You adult into robe.
Right, you get a robe at some point. You're like, I'm never taking this off.
Dude, this robe, it's in my bathroom. It is so comfy, cozy. I wear it around the place. I don't like a robe usually because it cuts me weird. My body type doesn't look good in robe. Okay. I feel less sexy. I feel like I should be Jabba the Hutt when I'm in a robe. It's just too. But I've become robe life. So, and it's because of Brooklinen. They have bundles that this busy season that make it so easy. So whether you're looking to refresh your space or gift someone special, bundles are a sure bet. So you can get a bunch of things at once. Let the gifting begin. Go to brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Use promo code JTrain20 for $20 off and free shipping on orders over $100. Of $100 and over. So that's JTrain20 for $20 off and free shipping on orders of $100 and over. That's quite a deal.
That's easy.
I love that. It's easy.
Yeah.
Here with Simeon Goodson at Sim de la Creme. Should I relocate post-breakup?
Oof.
Jared Feather, longtime listener of all your podcasts, first-time writer. August 2019, I moved to a new city straight out of college and met my ex December 2019. The first few months here, before I met him, were quite a challenging adjustment. I'm a super social person, but found it difficult to make friends. When we met, everything just clicked. We got serious quite quickly, probably due to COVID, and I ended up meeting so many people through him. We moved in together last summer, and it basically felt like my whole life here revolved around him. He's from the suburbs, so his family is not too far. Having been here his whole life, he has multiple friend groups that I fit really well with. Fast forward to now, long story short, we broke up this past month. Since he owned our apartment. Luckily, I do have one friend in the city outside of our groups together I have been staying with. I feel like I can't get over him and stay in this city. I'm not really financially in a place to move at all, let alone move cities altogether. But I feel like everyone I met here is through him, and most their loyalty lies with him. A few who aren't as close with him, I'm not as close with either. I really feel like I need to move cities. I do like it here, but now that we're apart, I think I'm quickly realizing I like my life here with him with him. I feel like any person I hang out with here or any place I go reminds me of him. Thanks to COVID, I work fully remote and can work from anywhere, so that is not the issue. I just don't know if I'm being dramatic or if it truly would be the best for my mental health and healing after this quite brutal breakup. I don't know what's worse, having to be around and reminded of my ex constantly or possibly ending up more lonely in a new city. Thank you for any and all wisdom. Sim, what do you think? This is I feel for this person.
You do feel for her? I don't know. I mean, you know, it's the interesting. It's like she's like, I'm a social person, but I don't make friends easily. Like she's spending a lot of words talking about other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I have no sense of. I mean, I guess that's the point of the letter, but I have no sense of who she is. Like we don't know what she does. Like it seems like she latches on to be like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like you can't take somebody's whole friend group.
Right.
And then alternately, you can't just run away from a city. And also, like, what city is it? Because if it's like a small city in North Dakota, all right, maybe you should move.
Right.
But if it's like, you know, Denver,
well,
you know what I memean? Like, just find other people.
If I was to look at their relationship, I would say part of, you know, if this might comfort her, I don't know I think this would comfort me. Their relationship was built out of loneliness in this new city.
Right.
Her. So like, and
he's from there. So it wasn't.
So that makes him hotter. Like I think like.
Right. He's a local.
The magic trick he did for her was to be like, oh, and here's my friends and family.
And here are things to do.
Here's comfort.
Here are activities.
So I think that might be comforting to her to be like, he wasn't that great. Like you liked him because of a situation.
And there was nothing else to do. It was COVID.
And it's COVID. So and now he gives you friends, social life, a family that's nearby.
Right.
You know, so there's comfort in that, and I understand why. So when you're coming out of this breakup, well, she says it's devastating. I totally understand that because you're losing the comfort of this community that was already built in. And I think what you're saying,
everything.
Right. And it is funny because you do bring up a good point. She writes this email as if she just appeared.
Right.
Where's your hometown?
Like, where'd you come from?
Where'd you
What's
come
your
from?
situation?
Where are your high school friends? Where are your college friends? What are you?
So
and
she's
also,
like, she spawned in the city.
Just all of a
this
sudden,
dude like picked her up. It was like, I'll show you around, and then he left her, and now she's like, I have nothing to do.
I have nothing. So it's like I would say to her that, and also being fully remote means you're fully alone. Because you work from home, you don't go to an office. So she doesn't even have that like office to go into to be like, hey,
meet people
let's get drinks after work.
Right.
So I understand why she feels very much on an island. Like I think that's totally normal. I would say to her, I think everything starts with being useful to feel good after a breakup.
Right.
So it starts with the job, purpose. You need your hands moving. You gotta have
go to the gym.
You gotta go to the gym. You gotta work out. But the fact that they're fully remote, so they can go anywhere, that almost makes it easier and harder in a sense because she's like, I can move anywhere, but what am I gonna do?
But she can't. She don't have money.
She doesn't have the money.
So I mean, it's just I don't know. I'm not gonna. She sounds very clingy to me. You know what I mean? Because it's just like.
Clingy.
She sounds clingy because it's like she's like, I have this dude. She obviously misses him. She's not like we broke up and I'm like fuck him. But what's up with the friends?
Right.
She's like, I'm devastated that he left. I'm also losing all of my social circle. I want to leave the city. Like you can't just run away like that.
Well,
you gotta eat that shit.
I actually disagree. I think what she's afraid of is it looks like a failure if she leaves this town. Like she's gonna walk out of the town with a stick and bindle.
A hobo, right?
Goodbye, everybody. No one loves me.
Jump on a rail car,
right? She has.
But here's the thing: she's gonna go to a new city and do this exact same shit with a new dude. She's gonna meet a new dude in city number 2. He's gonna introduce her to all his friends, and then she's gonna go through this again. So what, you gonna just keep moving cities every 2 years?
That's my point. You're right. So she can't do that.
Right.
She can't fix her problem with the problem she just had.
Right. You got to fix yourself.
I think she's got to go home.
Wherever that is.
No, her parents' house.
Right.
I think she's got to go to her high school bed. You got to get in the race car bed.
Right.
I think you need to
go drink in that bar that you got kicked out of when you were 17.
She needs to be a Hallmark movie. You got to go back to the hometown.
Right.
You got to readjust.
Right.
You got to find.
Help dad fix a car.
Help dad fix it. Right. You got to find your sense of what your real relationships are.
With yourself.
All these people you met over the last 2019, it's 2023. You met all these people and none of them came to your side. So maybe these friendships weren't actual friendships.
But you also didn't make any like peripheral friendships in that time?
You need to go home and reconnect with family.
Right.
Reconnect with those high school friends that you think are losers because they stayed in the hometown.
Right.
You got to figure out what, and I do understand.
Or even if you don't do that, you got to find something that you do. Find something you enjoy. And then, you know what I mean? Find people with common interests.
Well, that's what the going home.
That's how you make friends. Because she's like, I'm very social, but I don't know how to make friends. That means she's just outside drinking. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anything.
What's the social activity?
Right. Like, what do you, like.
That's why you go home. Going home is a nice intermediary.
Right.
You go home, you figure out what fills your cup. I like the statement, fills your cup, because when I go and hang out with my good friends, I go, oh, this is a hangout I like.
Right.
When I'm with people that I'm like, I think we're friends, I don't know, like the kind of tangential relationships, I go, yeah, I think my cup is filled.
This was cool.
Right. And then you go hang out with your real friends, you go,
you're like, fuck yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, like, hell
it's the difference between junk food and like an apple. Like an apple keeps you full. Your real friends, your family, they're going to keep her full. So I think she's so used to the junk food of these other people.
Right, these random acquaintances and peripheral friendships.
Right.
Right. She needs her own actual friends.
She's got a Hallmark movie this. Go home, stay in your high school bed.
Right.
Take a couple months, take a couple trips. The remote
good.
thing.
Go be a hoe overseas.
Right.
That's the wave.
Touch a Italian man.
Right. Just
you went overseas?
When I was in I got divorced when we were in China still. So I just spent the second half of the trip.
So where'd you go? Like, around China?
Right. I was just, because the borders were closed. So nobody could, if you left, you couldn't come back in. So we couldn't get any comics to fly in anymore. So I was just running around the country doing shows.
Were the shows hard to do with COVID stuff? Because weren't they like zero COVID? Wasn't that like...
Well, we weren't. America was locked down and China wasn't.
Oh.
And then...
it went the other way.
And then it switched. Because it started, they were locked down, America was open, then it switched, and then it switched again. So
JTrain
they would never...
So when you go to these Chinese towns, was it like when you like talk to women? Are you like...
Well, you're talking to expat. A lot of what happens in China is like white guys will go there to pick up Chinese women.
That was very apparent when I was there. It is weirdly apparent. It sounds bad when you talk about it, like just in the world,
but it's
like,
just like a thing.
It's just a thing. I remember I was there for a week, and when you meet men there, it wasn't like for a job. It wasn't
just for a wife.
It was for a wife. It was for
and
like...
they look like the kind of dudes that like travel for a wife.
Right, right. It's so weird. We both had that same thought because I was like, it was a little icky.
Right. It's very...
And you meet these guys and you're like, you left your friends and family. Like, talk about filling your cup. You're like, they're like, I only care about one cup to fill. Yeah.
But what I was doing, since all those dudes are chasing the Asian women, I was just chasing all the women that were being ignored. So just like all the foreigner women, like the Americans,
the ones working for like ExxonMobil, you know.
Well, they were all. Everybody's a teacher in China. That's
really,
yeah. That's everybody's job.
So
everybody's just a teacher.
I guess the teach for America type of thing,
right? To teach English and shit like that.
And the idea is, I get to go to China. I get to go to this far off land. I get to like let my freak fly.
They pay everything. Yeah.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. We are sponsored, people.
I love that.
We got good sponsors this week. I love this sponsor. They used to sponsor us all the time, and now they're back. This is the time of year for this product, okay? You are more than just a number on a scale. Noom Weight knows that and is here to help your weight loss journey. Noom Weight uses psychology to help you understand your eating habits and learn how to make healthier choices every day. Break the cycle and change your habits for good with Noom Weight. I love Noom. I am such a fan of Noom because it is coming at the struggle of eating, and we got a whole nother radio show. It is coming at the struggle of food body weight from the most important place that people ignore, your mind.
Okay.
It is all psychological. And I've had to deal with this myself, this idea that you have to when am I hungry? Am I eating things that'll satiate me, make me less hungry? Right. And that's where Noom comes in. It's this psychological thing that is not about, go out and run. Like, that's not what Noom's doing. It's more about, hey, let's understand why you eat the things you eat.
what you should
Noom Weight knows losing weight starts with your brain. That's why Noom Weight helps you understand the science behind your eating choices and why you have cravings. Your daily lessons are personalized to you and your goals. Food FOMO, Noom Weight can help you lose weight while still enjoying your favorite foods. Choose your level of support from 5-minute daily check-ins to personal coaching. Active first-time Noomers lose an average of 15 pounds in 16 weeks, and 95% of customers say Noom Weight is a good long-term solution. That is wild, that stat.
Yeah, 15 pounds in 16 weeks is pretty
and
crazy.
We're coming up on that time of year. Stay focused on what's important with you, important to you with Noom Weight's psychological-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com/JTrain. That's NOOM.com/JTrain to sign up for your trial today. And check out Noom's first ever book, The Noom Mindset, a deep dive into the psychology of behavior change, available for pre-order wherever books are sold. Here was Simeon Goodson at Sim de la Creme, patreon.com/Simeon Goodson. Go $1.
$1. It's $1.
I love that. I think that's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Visiting my newfound biological family to tell or not tell my mom.
Oof.
JTrain. Love your podcast. Always give such good advice. So I'm hoping that maybe you and your listeners can help with this crazy situation. I found out in 2019, I'm now 27, that my parents used an egg donor to conceive after asking a question about my family medical history. After about 2 years, I decided to do a 23andMe test in spring 2021 to find out more about my family heritage and potentially find my family, with low hopes of success. But when I got results, it connected me with my biological grandmother about 1.5 years ago. We spoke over messaging, and she told me that my biological mother, her daughter, had passed a year previously, but that I had a half-sister a few years younger than me. I spoke to my grandmother and half-sister over email and text since then. Unfortunately, at around the time I connected with this family, my dad got very sick, and I never brought this up to my parents. My dad tragically passed away last January, and with everything happening over the last 2 years, there was never a good time to tell him or my mother about it. My biological grandmother is in town visiting my newfound biological aunts about an hour's drive from my hometown, where I will be for Thanksgiving. I wanted to try and visit them along with my twin brother, but neither of us really know how to approach whether we should bring this up to our mom or not. Given all the suffering our family has been through over the past year, because we don't want her to feel hurt that we looked for them or found out. My question is, how should I want to approach this kind of discussion with one's parents? Is there a good time to do so? I appreciate any advice you and your guests have, and thank you for listening to this crazy story, family drama. What do we think? This is a wild tale.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about situationships.
Listen, the JTrain podcast makes all stops. We dance around. And listen, we are no experts. We are just two people with an opinion. I understand.
It's such an interesting thing because I feel like as a parent.
You're a parent.
You're like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not your mom. You know what I mean? Like, that woman didn't raise you. That grandmother didn't raise you.
Right. If you know what I mean? If you would use.
So it's like, when you phrase it like, I'm going to go meet my mom, I think it sounds fucked up. Like if you say I'm going to go meet,
you have kids.
Right.
If your kid came to you and was like,
I want to go meet my dad, you're like, you know your dad. You know what I mean? Like if she said I want to meet the egg donor. You know what I mean? I feel like if she phrases it like that, I'd like to meet the woman who donated my egg.
Right.
I feel like that because I wouldn't go up to my mom and be like, yo, I want to meet my real mom. You know what I mean? Like the woman who raised you.
She said biological grandmother, so she is phrasing this, I think, well so far.
I don't think it's her grandmother. I mean, I get it. I don't know what to call her.
Egg grandma.
It just feels dirty to like just give them these familial titles.
And you're saying that you're saying that as a father. You have
like
children.
I understand the desire to know your genetics and all that stuff, but I don't know. I just feel like the phrasing. I feel like that would bother me if it was phrased that way. If you said like I want to meet the dude who donated the sperm that got me here. I think I would have an easier time with that than if you came up and been like, I want to meet my dad.
I'm trying to meet that splooge maker.
Right.
Yeah, that's better.
Like if you can make it humorous or, or just frame it in a way like, health problems.
Right.
Health problems, Ma, we got to know. Like something like that, I think is just, especially if her husband, like if her dad just died, like, that sounds devastating. Like if your spouse dies and then your kid comes up, it's like I want to meet my real mom. And you're just like, wow, I'll kill you.
I can understand from the mom's angle. This is that's what we're giving. We're giving the mom side of things. The mom side of things, the actual mom, the mom who raised you. I would understand if my husband had passed away, and then suddenly She says she has a twin.
Right,
my twins.
2 kids.
Hey, it's a little sad here. Right. We kind of need some family.
We're going to go meet Grandma.
We're going to go meet Grandma, see if that family can, like, give us all the hugs we're kind of missing because Dad passed away. That I understand, but I know they're not saying that, but that is how it would come off.
Right. And I don't know. It's so tricky. It's such a tricky situation. Like, can their mom come?
Right.
I think that might.
Would that be weird?
I think it's the whole shit is weird.
Right.
It's not like we're starting weird.
This is a very specific situation. I would say to them, or to this person that's writing in, I think you got to start just talking to your mom about what made her go through the egg process. Like, was it because she couldn't conceive or had, I think having that conversation and then asking, how would you feel if I tried to find these people? If I reached out to these people, get her talking. And if she says, I would hate it, and then you go, maybe we're going to figure out a different way in. But I think what she would, honestly, she would probably, you're speaking hypotheticals first. And I know some people would probably say, well, now you're lying. But it's like, it's not that you're lying. You're just trying to get her talking about her feelings surrounding this. So it's almost like when you get someone's feelings, when you go to your mom and you go, what made you go down that path to have me? How did it feel to do that? Do you think about the other person who donated the egg? Do you think about those things? How do you feel about that? It's almost like you're creating footsteps in the snow.
Right.
Because now you know where to put your foot in.
Right.
Right. You know.
Packing it down, you're building a path.
Right.
So you know how to get from point A to point B.
Exactly. Without
knee deep.
Exactly. Because now the parts you would have gone to know knee deep in, if you go, hey, what do you think? Like, have you ever thought of me like reaching out to them? And they're like, you should never. You go, not walking in that step.
I mean, she also has an interesting perspective in that the egg donor died. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's just like that's kind of a way to approach it. Like the woman who donated the egg died, and I'd like to meet her mother. Like that seems
right.
Honestly, I'm a little caught with the whole like I want to meet my real mom. You know what I mean? That's and I know she didn't say that, but that's what I heard. That's my dad ears.
That's it. Well, this is something she can't. This is why she wrote into this podcast.
Right.
She's hearing a perspective. You're a dad.
Right.
You just know that this is emotional. This is, and she knows that. That's why she's writing in. But I'm saying,
I don't think she's like a bad person or anything. It's I don't know. It seems so sticky.
It is so funny that
because it's one of those things where like it can go great where the mom is like, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Go meet her. Or it could be like, don't talk to me ever again.
That's why
you're out the will.
But that's
you know what I mean?
You're not getting any of this money.
Right. It could go either way. It's just one of those weird things where you're like, I didn't think it would be a big deal. Well, and now mom's not talking to me anymore.
This is why you get her talking about how she feels about it.
Right.
Let's go down memory lane.
Right.
What was it like? What made you and Dad decide? What made you get this egg as opposed to another egg? What did the menu say? Like, I would get into those questions, get her talking. Let's get nostalgic. And then you say, like, what if I went and tried to meet this person? What would you think? Right. And then they, it would be weird, but and also taking what Simeon said and understanding, like, that's part of it too. Going, and that's not my mom.
Right.
Like you say that to her.
Right. You're my mom, but she might have a disease. Right. And we should know.
Right. I should know. I want to know.
We should know. Right.
So I think that's part
phrasing it like that. I think it's possible. It's like you're saying. It's all about the phrasing. Like, how do you approach your mom with this, especially like after your dad just died, because you don't want to just come off super insensitive.
The dad just dying is like a wrench in the whole thing because I could understand from the mom. Oh well. It's kind of lonely and sad here. There's a whole nother family.
Right. You guys
I kind of want to reach out, So I don't know. The tough situation, I think she definitely needs to get her talking.
I mean, she has the thing. She has the 23andMe thing, which is kind of like a good icebreaker. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, hey, look, I got that weird the genetic thing online.
Well, even saying, hey, I'm thinking of doing a 23andMe just to see kind of my background.
Right.
What do you think of that? And those are powerful things. What do you think of that gets someone talking?
Right.
So get her talking. Again, see where her feet go in the snow.
Right.
Yeah, and then you can go, oh, she got mad at that. She was cool with that. I'm going to go that direction.
Right.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Simeon Goodson at Sim de la Creme. See, these are depthy questions.
They are. This is much more intense than I expected.
Reaction to Bumble Friends question.
Oof.
Feather, thanks for all you do. During your recent episode, you had a listener write in about her boyfriend being friends with someone he dated from Bumble. I was in nearly the exact same situation a few years ago. He had been dating someone else who he met on a dating app, and they only stopped dating when he and I decided to be exclusive. They remained friends, but I always felt like something weird was up, and we fought about her several times. He claimed they were just friends and that he wasn't attracted to her at all. Well, they got engaged less than 2 years after he and I broke up. Oh, fuck. Hey, I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
I'm guessing that none of this shows up on their wedding website's Our Story page. Just a lesson to listen closely to your intuition. She wrote that. What do you think of this situation?
I mean, that dude's a dick. But you knew what was happening.
She's warning others.
Right.
Here's the thing about friends with Bumble. It is embarrassing. So this is why someone who's like, I'm on the dating apps to maybe meet a friend, that person's delusional and being an asshole.
Right.
Because the whole way you get to talk to someone on a dating app, the whole reason anyone connects on a dating app starts at attraction.
Right.
That's number one.
Swipes. Right.
Swipe. It's attraction, and then you started talking.
Right.
And because it's on a dating app, that is the house and with which it lives. If you met someone at a bar and you became friends from meeting them at a bar, there's a little more ambiguity.
Right.
One person could have been at the bar and just was there being nice.
Or you just struck up a conversation.
Right.
Like you both laughed at something that happened and bonded over it.
On
the app, like, right. That's
and
what
both,
you're there for.
in a bar, both people could have come there. Oh, we just were cool.
Right.
On a dating app, you might want to be friends with them, but you're talking to someone who wants to fuck you.
Right.
So the whole premise of the friendship, if it goes on as friends,
she said they dated.
Well, then that's the thing. And then he goes, "I'm not attracted to her at all." Yes, you are.
Yeah,
that is a complete lie. You were attracted to them. You met their personality. You decided maybe you didn't want to be with them forever, but you're still
attracted. Other girl, like I like her more.
Right. So you went to the other girl, then you go back.
Right. I mean, the thing about dating apps, it's kind of like it just kind of like gamifies it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like when you go out and like meet people outside, like it's a different vibe. Like dating apps is like it's just like keeping score. You know what I mean? Like I matched with 3 girls today, and I fucked 2 of them, and one of them I'm still trying. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's always interesting to me when you meet people who are like we've been together and we met on the app because it's just like they kind of just like broke the system because the apps don't want you to hook up. Like the apps want you to stay on the app.
Right.
Like Tinder doesn't want you to marry the person you matched with. Tinder wants you to come back and keep matching with people. That's why they gamify it like that.
Right. And a lot of what the apps do, especially for the male brain, like we just, we want to see, would they?
Right.
Would
it's
they?
like you got to match.
And you got to match.
You want to see it?
Yeah, of course.
You want to see it? You got $1?
This idea of like staying on the app while you're dating someone, it's just not good for your brain because you're going... Every time you take a shit, you go, let me just check. Let me see if any fish came into the, into the trap, so to speak. Right. And when you're dating someone that you're like, that you go, oh, well, now we're friends. It's embarrassing to even like tell people, oh, how do you guys know each other? Tinder. Well, we wanted to fuck each other. Then we got to know each other. And now I don't want to fuck them anymore. But they still want to fuck me. Like, how do you even explain that?
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's like, to this person who's letting people know, follow your intuition, as they wrote, they're saying from their experience, I do understand, like, you have to, nothing has no reason. Like, there's a reason for everything.
Right.
Your guy is keeping in touch with this other person because it feels good to keep in touch with them. Whether they want to admit it or not to themselves, they're keeping in touch with them because that's an option.
Right. You're keeping that in the back pocket.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Simeon Goodson @SimDeLaCreme, Patreon.com/Simeon Goodson. Let's do one more. We got time. We got 2 more. We got time for 2 more? Okay, let me make sure. Okay, I got the other one. Okay, perfect. Okay, we got 2 more. You got time for 2 more?
Yeah, for sure.
Boyfriend's judgmental friend.
Oof.
JTrain. Feather, seen you live several times. Subscribe to Patreon. Huge fan. Well, thank you. Yeah, there's a Patreon for me as well. Mine, we do 2 extra podcasts a week, $5 a month. Coffee with JTrain. If you're listening now, I haven't taped the one. It's going to be about getting a new iPhone. I got a new iPhone.
Okay. Which one is that?
the new 14.
Okay.
Very happy. But it was so interesting to see people's, like, everyone in the new iPhone place had the same vibe. And I talk about that on Patreon, patreon.com/JaredFreid. Okay. My boyfriend and I met in 2017 and dated until summer of 2021 when we took a brief 3-month-long break. So 2017, dated until summer 2021, 3-month-long break. We met while juniors in college and dated through my law school graduation. He was my first boyfriend, second person I slept with, etc. I initiated a break because I thought I was studying for the bar exam, stressed as hell, and going through a large transitional shift. In retrospect, it was the best thing that ever happened to us. We are now happier than ever, and I feel like the break gave me really valuable perspective. It's now been over a year since we got back together post-breakup. Post-break, she wrote, not breakup. All of his friends were welcoming to me post-break, and the majority of them have also been through breaks and understand that shit happens. Well, except one. This dude, we'll call him Trevor, seems to have a vendetta against me since we got back together. If we see him out, he won't acknowledge me. More recently, he's actively tried to set my boyfriend up with other girls while we're out. I'm just as protective over my friends as the next person, but damn, what do I do? Should I address it with Trevor? My boyfriend has told me to fuck off. Has told him to... I
was like, holy shit.
My boyfriend has told him to fuck off, but it's not working, and I feel disrespected. Help. What do you think?
I mean, that dude's a goofball.
Yeah, it's weird.
Dudes shouldn't act like that.
Yeah,
I know it's so toxic. It's like such a toxic masculine thing to say, but nah, dudes shouldn't act like that. Like that's... I don't know. I feel like when your friend, like when your male friend is going through shit with his girl, like all you can do is buy him beers.
Back
you know
away.
what I mean? You can rub his back. You can listen. But you don't give advice. You don't recommend actions. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny that you brought up like the masculine angle. When I hear that this guy is setting up his friend,
bitch. Because you know why? Because you're making my life horrible. Like I'm going home with this woman. You're harassing me in front of her. She's gonna bring that. You know she's gonna bring that up. But you don't think she's gonna be like, "Oh, that was cool what your friend did earlier." Like you're making my life bad. For whatever reason, regardless of how you feel about her, you're fucking me up.
And I know the reason. It's because he's self-conscious. He is
the other friend.
The other friend, the one that's fucking with him.
The hater. Yeah.
The hater. He's self-conscious. He's giving incel energy.
Right.
To me, that is a guy who thinks women. I bet you. This is an assumption I'm making that he has big thoughts on women. That they'll leave you, they'll cheat on you.
Right.
You know, he talks in big.
She already broke up with you once.
Right. They'll do it.
She's gonna break your heart again.
And I'm sure he relates this to what women do. Oh, they don't want to date you unless you got money, man, or unless you. And I think this guy.
There's also like now that you say that, there's also the possibility that the friend was like crying on him when they broke up the first time.
If that's the
case,
you know
what I mean?
Well,
and this dude is like, I'm not doing that shit again.
I don't think
that's what happened, but I think that is like
that's a possibility.
Like even if a friend cries on you, you still like follow the rules. You're like, you're back together. I guess you're back together.
I think that's a question for her boyfriend. Hey, I think getting mad is not the answer.
No.
Asking questions is the answer.
Right.
So I would go to my boyfriend. I'd be like, hey, did you like go to him when we broke up and like
were you talking shit
about me?
Which is understandable.
But like I kind of want to get to the bottom of this whole thing because she never gave the option of like we'll just not talk to this guy anymore.
And she's also like, I was going through law school. The break was very good. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a chance he was like, no, it's fine. Like we can take a break and then going to this dude and being like, yo, I'm fucking killer.
Right. She's loving the break, and he's going.
She's like, I'm doing so much self growth.
Right, and he's like, just I waited.
Fetal position in the crib.
I don't think that happened, but I would. It's a possibility.
Right. It's
I think going to him and being like, did you like go to him with like for help when you were on this break? Then if he's like, not really, I don't know why.
A little bit.
Or I would say to him, hey, is there any reason you think that he would be this angry about us getting back together? It's weird. It's not his life. If he can't really come to words with that, then I know that this is a dude who is self-conscious. He has a very low self-esteem. It's an ego thing. It's not about you. Plus it's not about you getting back together with your friend.
Right. Plus she said that he like tries to hook him up with girls in front of her.
It's weird.
That's such a dirtbag.
It's like, a dirtbag.
Because it's not like an effective thing. You know what I mean? When you're in a bar, you're like, yo, you want to fuck my friend over there?
It's passive aggressive.
It's very dirtbag.
That's why it feels like incel energy.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
So
I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe he was there for his boy during that 3-month time, but it doesn't sound like it.
You think, the same guy who brings over women to a guy with a girlfriend is not the same guy that's like petting you and making sure you're okay.
That's facts.
So I think what you need, first of all, ending the friendship with it, like telling him fuck off. Like, is your boyfriend still friends with this guy? Let's drop this dude. Right. Or you go to him and you go, hey, listen, I just want to let you know, like, I'm really fully into this relationship. Are we okay? Right. What's up? You don't even acknowledge me. I'm going to have to be around you, obviously, and like I'm not looking to feel uncomfortable every time you're in the room. If you have something to say to me, please say it now.
Yeah, I mean, that dude's not giving that energy. Well, he's down for a convo. But at least you put it out there and gave him the option.
And please say it now. He might come at you, and I think he's going to come at her with like, well, you know, people cheat and people, you took a break. And I think you're going to find out what type of person he is.
Right.
And it's not going to be great. And this is someone that people are probably going to separate themselves from. JTrain podcast at gmail.com.
What is the relationship with her boyfriend and this dude?
Right. I think the boyfriend needs to talk to the guy.
Right.
Dude,
because as dudes, we do have those weird toxic friendships.
Right.
Just like some weird.
Well, that's
with some weird degenerate that like. Well, picked us on football in 3rd grade. We're still friends with them.
Still deal with him.
Right.
People go, he's an asshole. You go,
you're like,
I know. He's my asshole.
He beat up a bully for me in kindergarten. So.
Right. I think if she goes to the boyfriend and is like, hey,
what's up with this guy?
Can you go talk to this guy? Because every time I walk in a room, he won't make eye contact with me. And don't just say fuck off.
Right.
Like,
and the boyfriend's just like, fuck off.
Right. Fuck off might be the 3rd grade friend. That's like,
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, you got to deal with, like, I just deal with him. That kind of shit.
Well, now I have to deal with him. So can you make sure I don't have to? That's a JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Let's do one more.
All right, let's go.
Does my boyfriend have to ask my dad before proposing?
Oof.
My boyfriend, 32, and I, 29, have been together 3 years and are planning on getting engaged early 2023. The question my boyfriend has presented to me is, does he have to ask my dad for my hand in marriage? I thought it was really respectful of my boyfriend to ask me this, as I'm not super close with my dad. My mom passed away 4 years ago, and he abused her most of the marriage. Since my mother's death, my dad's problem with alcohol has really escalated, and our relationship has been strained. My boyfriend and I get together with my dad maybe once a month for dinner or to watch a sporting event. Very surface level type conversations are typical. My dad is not very emotionally intelligent and has some narcissistic tendencies. I mean, to put it mildly, I would say. I personally think the whole asking for permission thing is very dated, and the thought of my dad giving me away as a bride makes my eyes roll. However, I anticipate that my dad would be very upset if he wasn't talked to before a proposal. But I also don't want to feed his emotions and continue into this codependency. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Sincerely, so over old school. What do you think?
I think it's cool that the dude asked her, but I think if it's not important to her, then it shouldn't be. Because you're not marrying your dad.
Right.
Like, she brought up the point that he'll be upset, but it's just like, you only see him once a month now. You're going to see your husband every day.
Right.
And like you said, it's like an old, outdated thing. Like, there's no, you know what I mean? Like, there's no benefit to do it. Like, if it's tradition, you know what I mean? Like, if your family always did that, and you're like, it's very important that you get my dad's permission. You know what I mean? If you're from that kind of family. But she doesn't care.
It's interesting to me. Her email, and listen, I'm not a professional. There's probably, she should talk to a professional with alcoholism and all those things.
Right.
There's so many things here. Abuse. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the tools to give her. But I will say there's something that's very noticeable from her email. She writes, her dad will be very upset if they don't do this. And then she's like,
if they don't ask?
If the guy doesn't ask. She said he'll be very upset. Fine. She knows not asking will create some sort of
But she also says by asking, you're feeding into these negative behaviors that he's already exhibiting.
Right.
So it's like,
but also she goes and does sporting events with him. She's already doing the codependency thing. That's what's so glaring about this email.
Yeah.
She's like, this serves him in a this adds to the codependency. But it's like, okay, is now the time you're stopping the codependency because you're doing the surface level stuff. So some would say the surface level stuff is you feeding the codependency, and now you're making a point with the proposal. So it's like, if now's the time you're doing that, now we have to reassess this whole relationship because this might be the beginning of
a new relationship.
Right.
Like, what would the dad's role be in the wedding? I think that's an important. Right. For example, if the dad's paying for everything, then you should ask the dad. You know what I mean? Like you should ask for permission. Right. But if this doesn't sound like a dude who's going to pay for the wedding. You know what I mean?
But it's interesting. A lot of women, especially, and I don't mean it just seems that they choose their wedding as the moment they're going to like
change the rules. They're gonna
let people know how
out the cocoon. Right.
Let people know what their relationship is.
Right.
I'm gonna make you the bridesmaid and you're not because you've never been a good friend. Like, is there a reason to have this conversation?
But you're not in the wedding party.
And you're not invited because you didn't do this for me then.
Right.
So
and you're in the wedding party, but you get to plan the bridal shower.
Right.
And you get to plan the bridal shower, but you get to you know.
This
so
is her moment
hierarchy.
to let people know where they stand.
Right.
And she's kind of doing that with the engagement thing, because she's saying and this is my personal opinion, just based on the email, because she says, I think it's now, when it came to like doing the surface level stuff and watching a sporting event and making sure that you have some relationship with him, you do it. When it came to your wedding, okay, now I don't want to be codependent. I don't want him being codependent on me. So it's like, okay, you have to understand, this will be, if you have your husband or your fiance, or if he doesn't do anything, you're starting the road towards, hey, this is how I really feel about you.
Right.
And so be prepared for that.
And then she's like, surface, like watch a movie or watch a sporting event. Like it seems like we're missing information.
No, but
because we don't have that.
But I don't think we are. I think that is the same as asking for a hand in marriage.
To go watch a movie with your dad?
Right. Yeah, because she's keeping everything. She knows if she doesn't do that, he'll explode. Why don't you hang out with me?
Right.
Why don't you talk to me? And then she'll have to have a conversation of, well, you were abusive to my mom, and your alcohol has become a problem since her death. You need to seek help. She knows that conversation would have to come. Right. So, and these are assumptions based on what I'm reading, and I'm also, again, not a professional that knows how to deal with these things. But I would say to her, if she wants to keep the boat afloat, then maybe you have him go, hey, send a text. Hey, I just want to let you know I'm about to ask your daughter for her hand in marriage. That keeps it consistent. If he doesn't ask, there's a new relationship. I'm just like, and this is more warning than it is what to do. I don't know what she should do.
Yeah, it's a very strict. I don't know. It seems like an outdated practice.
Yeah, but that's
in
separate.
General.
That's separate than her situation. I hear you. If I went to my girlfriend and I was like, hey, would you like me to ask your dad, knowing your relationship? And she was like, fuck no.
It's interesting because the dude asked her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I don't think we're getting all the information. It's like you said, like there's a codependency there. It's not just a movie. It's not just a sporting event. You know what I mean?
Right. But
like you're there once a month, like arguing probably. You know what I mean? You're fighting.
Well, he's asking her because he knows the situation.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Because if he knew the dad, if he sees him once a month and he was like, I know this guy wants me to ask, he would just go ask. You know what I mean? But obviously there's conflict there where he's like... No, but then
he also knows that his girlfriend's dealing with
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He knows his girlfriend's not going to be pleased with him just going straight to the dad. So he's like he's probably asking her, the same shit. Like, should I ask him or should I not ask him?
And what he's asking her is this the day we rock the boat?
Right.
Are we not asking? Right. That's what he's going to
Because you're rocking the boat either way.
Right.
If you say something, if you don't say something.
Right.
So it's just, it's like you said, she has to clarify her relationship with her dad before introducing this new dude into a relationship with her dad.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Simeon Goodson, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man.
Such a fantastic guest. Thank you.
Amazing.
Everyone go follow Sim @SimDeLaCreme. On Instagram, he's got a special on Patreon. What a great idea. Patreon.com/Simeon Goodson. I'm Jared Freid. We're here every Monday with your emails, your stories, your questions. Hey, Happy New Year. This is it. This is our last episode of JTrain for the year. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you for being a part of this show. I love doing it. I want you to keep sending your emails, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Your relationship, your lifestyle. This is a great email that just came in. We'll be back next year. Boom.